Good evening once again. It's been a long set of sessions and very long lines of traffic, and therefore I'm glad you could make it here. Let's try and get it to something that everybody here and those who are watching us know, which is their handset. And you as the company are behind the networks that actually power everything in the digital arena. I want to begin by asking you about what Ericsson calls the intelligent digital fabric. Can you give our audience a sense of what is that vision and what does it potentially promise to deliver?
Okay, well, I mean, we have very potent technologies now that are more and more being talked about in society. It's AI, it's the cloud, it is the mobile networks. And AI and cloud alone won't make it. You also need the mobile network there. You will be out and about, wherever you are, you want to be able to use your AI-powered applications in the future. So that's part of a big system that will be truly important going forward. In that, we have lots of technology to manage, control, and steer it. There will be AI agents that are positioned in different parts of the network, having different roles and adding intelligence to it. All of this coming together is a fabric for the future that will drive efficiency and pleasure as well for people, and lots of good value for industries, enterprises, and society as a whole.
That's a good way of setting the stage for this conversation, because people would understand AI through the apps that they have already on their phones. And we know that the numbers in India are staggering, of hundreds of millions of smartphones, and the amount of adoption of AI apps and other abilities is phenomenal. What will AI mean for the cell phone that I hold in my hand today, if I may ask you? Will it kind of make the phone smaller? Will it disappear the screen? Will the phone get embedded in me? What is the future of smartphones in an era of AI?
Okay, well, smartphones will be smarter, I think. So we talk in our industry about AI for the networks and AI or networks for AI. And one important thing is that the networks together with the smartphones supports your usage of AI-based algorithms and applications. And here, of course, it's very important how we design the networks for the future to make sure that the different characteristics of this kind of usage is very well supported. And there are some things that we trend and follow to make sure that we always are at the edge of what's possible to do. And that will continue, always continuing. And I think one thing that we talk quite a bit about is to perhaps be a bit technical about latency and delay, how quickly, when you push a button, how snappy is the system, if I put it that way, right? And here we monitor again how AI usage on top of the system has a need for the system being responsive. And our research group works on this, our product implementation people work on it, right? And we work on it together with the makers of smartphones through standardization and through alignment in the industry. So that smartphone device will be snappier, better going forward, I argue. But that's certainly not the end of it. It also opens up for new kinds of devices coming about. And here, I think media-intense devices will be there. And if I exemplify with one, I'd say XR glasses. Mm-hmm. Already we see that for industrial use. And we see it for very, I think, high value use, like in healthcare, assisting surgeons in full commercial service, making sure they have a precision cut being assisted from AI-based applications and conveyed the information to a hologram lens. Now that's a precursor for you and me as private persons being out and about again with glasses that are XR capable.
Okay.
I mean, imagine for me, I live in Singapore, and coming here to Delhi, I look at a building, I want to know what's the history of that. And all of a sudden I can see it explained on my screen. And you talking in one of your native tongues, I can get it real-time translated. There will be many applications where we as consumers, as professionals, will use this in the future. So the future is a lot more than the smarter smartphones.
And the future is already here. We've seen a demo that's been already done by Sarvam, which is India's first sovereign LLM. And it's getting rave reviews of a glass of the kind that Magnus just spoke about. For many of the folks here, I stuck to the smartphone example to be able for people to relate to what your company does, but this is a company that powers networks across the world. Without the network, you won't have any of these functionalities available. So now 2 more points. One, with the numbers that we have in India of smartphone usage and the network lies behind it, the common man is not able to touch and feel it. He only kind of looks at it and says, oh, my signal isn't very good in this area, or I get these spam calls. I want you to try and explain to our audience here how AI is improving the network experience for the average user. And I ask you this question in the backdrop of the fact that some of the lowest ARPUs in the world are on Indian networks, and these subscribers, through a combination of companies like you and the service providers like Bharti or Jio or others, are delivering phenomenal experiences at very low price points. Therefore, what is AI doing for a better network experience for the end user?
Okay, thank you. Well, there are many parts to this. I think one thing, let's say, before I go into AI, that you've hit upon, the scale and the importance in a high technology business to really reach scale. And I think the mobile industry has it, and that is truly for the benefits globally to markets. And India is a role model in that. Q3 last year, 87% of all smartphones sold in India were 5G capable. And the lowest cost tier, 70 to 110 US dollars, grew by 1,600%. It's phenomenal. Say around 100 US dollars, you get a 5G potent smartphone, which from a technology point of view is extraordinarily complicated. That can be produced thanks to having scale. Right? And India plays a vital role there in the world. And it's good for India, it's good for the world. Right? So I think the scale that India has here is phenomenal, and it's great. That also applies then on the application side. Right? And I think as AI comes in more and more in applications, that will drive many benefits. I think for much innovation to come, where companies, Indian companies, can provide good value in India, but also have a fantastic export opportunity. Okay, now, the other part of the question was, how does AI help to ensure that the delivery of the services is better, always better?
Yes.
And that comes to the part where I talked earlier about AI for the networks. In other words, how do we work with AI to make sure that when we build the products, we leverage whatever technology has to give, the latest technology has to give. And there we work intensely, of course, using AI in all layers of our products. And all of our research and development staff are upskilled in AI, 45,000 people. and they should use it daily, both in ways of working and in ways of how they derive new results for what goes into our products. And we've seen some results that are quite astonishing. One key result, a little bit techy, but it's what we call the spectrum efficiency. In other words, the radio spectrum that here in India is regulated through TRAI and then through auction is awarded to the mobile operators. I know there's been a debate here and in many other countries, is the cost of radio spectrum too high or not? Okay, let's park that question. But it's a sizable investment for the operator. And what we've seen now, applying AI in some, let's say, core parts of the system, we can improve the efficiency, how much information you can stack in one piece of radio spectrum by 10%. In other ways, when you paid it for one amount of money, you now can get 10% more space in that. That's a huge value that is now being unleashed thanks to using AI in a very core part of our products. And that's for the benefit of the users.
That's a good point that you make, and I hope the regulator doesn't wake up and decide to start charging extra because he realizes that the equipment provider and the network is finding better ways to use the same spectrum. Again, to relate this to consumer audience here and at other places, one of the usage of AI that we've been seeing deployed in an Indian network is to cut down on these spam calls. I mean, the numbers are again staggering in India. So anything good and bad, both has scale in India. So tell me, how does that work? Will you be able to kind of explain to the audience here that having lesser spam calls on their phone and hopefully lesser cyber frauds as a more serious issue on their phone, how is AI helping prevent that?
Okay, so, and this is a very good area, I think. Now, to be fair, this is how AI is done, or the network supports AI applications, right? This is an application that the mobile operators provide as a service to their customers. And the customers can be you as a consumer. It can also be an enterprise that then can buy information from the operator to provide a better service to their customers in turn. And let me give you an example there. An industry initiative a few years old now that Ericsson started is called network interfaces, network APIs. And we are driving together in the industry that there should be clearly defined interfaces northbound from the operator's network where the operator can expose information and then developers can buy that. And it's now coming to the market. In the United States, the 3 mobile operators there launched this late last year. And the first of these interfaces that are in commercial use is to prevent financial fraud. So financial companies can secure information to make a better judgment, is this transaction good or bad? And I think that's an excellent example of how mobile operators sits with information that they can process with the help of AI and then expose it in a controlled way so the right party, without then compromising integrity, etc., can make a better call on if a transaction is good or bad. And in a way, it's very similar to a spam call. It's a different area, but now it's more, the spam call is more directed to consumers. And there are, of course, similar ways where the operators with the information on what kind of calls from what originating number and so on can correlate that and then take a decision. This is likely a spam call.
Okay. I have a couple of questions at the enterprise level, but before I do that, just one more consumer question, if you permit me. For years, mobile phone customers in India and elsewhere in the world looked up to faster speeds, better bandwidth, better downloads. With the advent of 5G, that's no longer it's your phone's memory that becomes a constraint, really. For a consumer, and we touched upon this, what will a 6G and obviously a AI-enabled network mean?
So we believe here that with 5G now, we're taking a very fundamental and big step in the industry, and that's to provide the ability for mobile operators to, what we say, differentiate traffic, meaning that as a service is being transmitted to a user, be it a consumer, be it an enterprise, be it a government function, the service can be tailored for different needs. In the past, we have only talked about best effort. Now we can tailor the service for certain needs. And let me give you an example. If you say you have a car on the street and it's to a large degree autonomous, but the system so far, and I argue for a long time, will have the possibility to be assisted from the network. So if a network now finds that it urgently needs to send a corrective signal to the car, it needs to be delivered there within a certain time frame. That's a certain characteristics. Well, that service can now be produced by the mobile operator and provided to, let's say, the make of the car, who then sells it to the owner of the car. And I think if you're walking on the streets, you would like that car to have that safety net to be able to be controlled. Yeah. And that's an agreeable service that can then have special characteristics. And that goes for many other services, including for consumers. Already in Singapore and United States of America, operators are offering services at venues. Imagine going to see a rock star, whatever, and you're full of energy and you shoot a video, you quickly want to upload it to your friends. In those cases, you can buy, let's say, an event pass. For 3 hours, you have the possibility to stream your videos up to your friends with better quality. And that's a new possibility.
Another way of trying to understand the future that we are going to see, and it's already playing out, is that earlier you thought that your mobile connectivity was limited to your phone. There was a chip, there was a radio, you had a network, and as long as there was a signal, you were connected. But increasingly, you have a ring that you wear that is connected. You have a glass which is connected. You have a watch already. I don't know how many of you here are wearing a smart watch, but that's also connected. And other devices increasingly, connected TVs. So look around yourself in your day-to-day life and imagine 5 years before, 10 years before, 15 years before, how much connectivity did you have? And therefore that network and that vision that Magnus just outlined for us. As we wind down the conversation, I just want a bigger picture, a point from you. You've been a technologist, you've seen multiple phases of technology. How big a disruption is AI when it comes? Is it as big as the internet or is it bigger?
Well, I'll tell you in a bit. I think without a shadow of a doubt, AI is changing and will change a lot, right? And that needs to be treated with some great deal of respect. Inside of Ericsson, when we worked with generations of mobile systems, and as you said, it's really changing our lives, we quite often say we tend to overestimate how quickly the change will be, but we tend to underestimate the long-term effect of it. And I think that's part of AI also. It is changing lives step by step. And as we get into it more and more and understand more what can be done, we become more mature to take the next step. And after having taken a few steps, we've moved ourselves in a space that we couldn't see at the beginning. And I think that's important in many ways, because if you want to be a leader, you have to be at the edge, and you have to be that all the time. So get in now, use AI, and start to use it, manage how it's being applied, and take the next step and the next step. And I bet you the ones who do now, in 5 years to come, they will be the leaders. And for them, it's a small step to go into the future. But the ones who haven't started really, it's a gigantic leap.
Magnus, when you saw the first SMS being sent from a phone, mobile phone to another phone, did you ever imagine that we would be living in a world of today?
Thank you for bringing it up. And I just a short reflection. Why did the mobile standard define an SMS, short message? It was intended for machine-to-machine communication. But the market grew rapidly with individuals sending short messages. And that business potential we didn't see, right? But as it started to come, the market unleashed itself. And then the rest is history, so to say.
So a similar moment with AI?
All the potential for that, I think. And a very good one, right? You said before, it's fundamental, you have more and more connected devices, you have the network connecting it there. And then having the AI-based applications, accessing the compute power in the cloud through the networks. That's changing our lives. It will be.
And the only thing constant will be change in the future. Magnus, thank you very much for your time with us today. With that, it's a wrap on this session. Thank you. A round of applause for the guest.